Buddha statue in the temple. This is the largest one in the city. And also your traveling time is also very, very special because now it's still in the middle of our Chinese New Year celebration time. And so you'll see some special decorations here. The red envelopes is hanging here. We're still seeing a lot of flowers here. So a lot of people will come to the temple during this special period to wish for the good lucks. Especially for the beginning of the Chinese New Year's. They will make an offering, make donations, ask for fortunes. Because a good fortune is really you need these times. You are very, very lucky because I found somebody more special for you to give you a speech. Because his name is Dr. Nelson Ying.
I'm a senior trustee of this Buddhist temple. First, however, a disclaimer. My PhD is in nuclear physics. I learned my Buddhism the old-fashioned way. I learned from a master in 1962 and 1963. I think that before you guys are born, right? Right, okay. If you look behind me, you see a golden Buddha. You see red columns. Is that Buddhism? I don't know. Buddhism is believed by 1/3 of the world's population. Buddhism is the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The world has suffering. The suffering have a cause. You, meaning all of you, can end that suffering. And there is a way to the ending of suffering called Eightfold Path, part of which is the middle way if you apply it. We think of Buddhism as the Red Cross of religion. We go anywhere, everywhere, and we try to solve problems. We try to end suffering. Nothing to do with going to heaven, nothing to do with going to hell. We just simply solve suffering. If you love your fellow human beings, if you love sentient beings all over the universe, that makes you a Christian. That makes me a Christian. So I try to solve suffering in my own way. I am, as I mentioned before, a nuclear physicist. How do I, Nelson Ying, senior trustee of this temple, end suffering in my own humble way? Okay, as a nuclear physicist, I sponsor science competitions. However, I believe in not only talking a talk, but walking a walk. So this is what I do, and this is what Buddhism teaches us to do.
Welcome. I am Rabbi Manny Vinyas. You are at Lincoln Park Jewish Center in Yonkers. You are in an Orthodox synagogue. One of the ways that you know right away that you're in an Orthodox synagogue is the mechitza, which is right there along the side. That mechitza is a type of wall that separates between the men's section and the women's section. So during prayer, in a traditional congregation, the sexes are actually separated. A synagogue is primarily headed by the clergy, which are the rabbi and the cantor. The cantor is the person who sings the prayers. Every time we get together, the cantor actually officiates over the services. Most of the synagogues in the United States, in North America, all over, well, really in the Western Hemisphere, are situated in such a way that the synagogue points towards the east. So whenever you walk into a synagogue in the United States, you'll see that it's pointing this way. And the reason is because when we enter into prayer, we direct our prayer towards Jerusalem. And the mystics of Jewish tradition said that Jerusalem Now, if I wanted to make Jerusalem a really, really holy place, so they wouldn't say it was the heart of the world. They said it was the navel of the world. So you'll never see a drawing of God in a Jewish house of worship. The reason is that we believe that God's a spirit, and it would be absolutely prohibited to believe that God would take the form of anything physical, including a human being. Every single piece in a synagogue, in a modern synagogue, is a copy of the Jerusalem temple that we mentioned earlier. The Jerusalem temple was structured with an outdoor courtyard, an inner sanctum. Inside of the inner sanctum there was a menorah, there was an altar. When the temple was destroyed, the Jews, the central place of worship was destroyed, so the Jews said, okay, we're going to build what we call a mikdash me'at, which is a small sanctuary, a copy of that sanctuary. So what we did was that the central table becomes the altar that was inside of the Holy Temple. The mechitza, when there was in the courtyard of the temple, there was a wall that separated between the men's section and the ladies' section. So the mechitza is actually a replica of the separation of the sexes that occurred in the courtyard of the temple. There was a curtain that divided the Kodesh and the Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy and the Holy of Holies. So we now have a curtain that represents the Kodesh HaKodashim, and inside of the curtain, behind the curtain, are the scrolls of the Torah. They are handwritten scrolls written on parchment that have about 400,000 letters. It's the 5 books of Moses written in Hebrew in the original text of the Bible. I think you should come up here. You seem like nice people. I'll show you the Torah scroll.
You've been such a nice audience.
The writing is done with a goose feather and a special type of ink, and it is exactly, now if there is one letter missing from the scroll, it has to be put away. We use a different scroll. So it has to be very, very exact.
It can be repaired.
It can be repaired by a scribe.
Mistake.
So I just wanted you to see what this looks like. There are no vowels. There is no punctuation in the original text. Az Yashir, this is the Song of the Sea. And if you see the layout, you can kind of get a little bit of the shape of the ocean, right? Hebrew is read from right to left, so English is backwards.
Vayosha Adonai Vayom Hahu Es Yisrael Miad Mitzrayim Vayar Yisrael Es Mitzrayim Meisas Vas Hayom Vayar Yisrael Es Hayad HaGedolah Asher Aso Adonai B'Mitzrayim V'Yeruham Es Adonai V'Yeminu Adonai Uv Moshe Avdo.